According to new reports, Israel and Turkey will reach understanding on restoration of full ties. IMF chief Christine Lagarde is to stand trial in France for alleged negligence over a 400 million euro payment to a businessman in 2008. And environmental factors such as sunshine and tobacco smoke cause more cancers than random DNA mutations, this according to a new research. Good evening. You're watching I-24 News here with the hour's top stories. Israel and Turkey have reached an understanding on restoring full diplomatic ties, Israel's Channel 10 News reported this evening. Israeli officials confirmed to I-24 News diplomatic correspondent that representatives from both countries met secretly in Switzerland. The meeting follows Turkish President Erdogan's statements this week, saying normalized ties with Israel would benefit the entire region. And joining us now on the phone is our diplomatic correspondent, Tal Shalev. Tal, thanks for being with us. So what were these major understandings?
Well, a dramatic breakthrough last night, it seems, in this meeting between the National Security Advisor and incoming head of the Mossad, Yossi Cohen, and the senior Turkish official, Fadarun Sinirlulu. The Israeli official, as he said, confirms the list of understandings, which is a significant step on the way to restoring diplomatic ties. According to these understandings, Israel and Turkey will both return ambassadors to each other's capitals. The Turkish parliament will pass a law that will cancel any cases or any suits against IDF soldiers for the Mavi Marmara incident in 2010, in which 9 Turkish citizens were killed. Israel will also compensate in $20 million the families of the Mavi Marmara victims. But more significantly, Turkey will not allow the Hamas operative Salah Harouri, who is responsible for a series of terrorist attacks in the West Bank in the past few years, to stay in the country, and has vowed that Hamas activity will be limited. And after the agreement is signed, the two sides have agreed to commence discussions on a joint natural gas pipeline that will export gas from Israel through Turkey to Europe.
So does this actually mark the end of the long diplomatic crisis where we've become accustomed to?
Well, Israel and Turkey, who were once very close diplomatic allies in the past 5 years since the Mavi Marmara incident, have had a full freeze of ties. But in the past two and a half years, since President Barack Obama's visit to Israel in March 2013, there have been many efforts to try and reconcile between the two countries. And in the past few weeks, we've seen many geopolitical developments that created the circumstances for this to actually happen. First of all, we saw Israel closening ties with Greece and Cyprus, and it'll be interesting to see how this reconciliation will impact that process of Israel getting closer to Greece and Cyprus. There is a speculation that this will actually serve even as an incentive to Cyprus to strike a deal with Ankara as well. But most notably, Turkey's crisis with Russia urged Erdogan apparently to move forward on this reconciliation. Most notably, Turkey needs to cut its energy dependence on Russian gas, and that apparently led to Erdogan to cave in on some of his most significant demands. We do not know yet what happened to the demand about Gaza. Erdogan has been demanding that Israel lift the siege on Gaza as one of his conditions to reconciliation. Well, that is not part of the list of understandings that the Israeli government, the Israeli Prime Minister's office, has been briefing this evening. And an Israeli official does tell us that this whole effort does depend on the signing of a final accord, but we can say that this is a dramatic, even tectonic shift to the region. So if Israel and Turkey can renew their once very close ties.
Indeed, very significant developments. Thank you, Tal. And we're moving now to France, where reports suggest IMF chief Christine Lagarde is to stand trial for alleged negligence over a 400 million euro payment to a businessman in 2008. Lagarde was the finance minister in President Nicolas Sarkozy's government at the time of the compensation award to businessman Bernard Tapie, who supported Sarkozy in the 2007 presidential elections. Earlier, we spoke to I24 News senior analyst Christiane Malard from Paris about this latest scandal.
Well, everything is possible in this country, and I'm sure that Madame Lagarde might think it's a political affair, because last September, when she was free of charge, the trial was supposed to be over concerning Monsieur Tapie, and she had been, as you said, as you alluded to it, she was charged with being neglectful in the past concerning the fact that Mr. Tapie, in his conflict with the famous company Adidas, got more than 404 million of euro, and that everybody thought that the problem, the affair was over. It's true that a few days ago, a week ago, a bit more than a week ago, Mr. Tapie was asked to reimburse all this money, these 404 million of euro. So the affair was still back on the table. And now, this is the big surprise today, the IMF chief, Madame Lagarde, is supposed to go back on trial, and she doesn't understand. She says, quote, it's very difficult. I understand with much difficulty that it happens. She doesn't understand. She's very surprised. She's shocked. So the question is, will she go back? Probably she will have to. And it might be again on the table of the political affair. In this country, we go from political affair to political affairs in a very bad political climate after these regional elections, 17 months ahead of the next presidential election.
And moving to Russia, where President Putin made his annual address to the nation today, saying that Russia wants to develop ties with the United States no matter who wins the election, and welcomes Donald Trump's call for deeper ties with Russia.
Donald Trump is a very flamboyant man. Very talented, no doubt about that. But this is not up to us to decide if he is worthy. It is up to the voters in the United States. He is an absolute leader of the presidential race, as we see it today. He says that he wants to move to another level of relations, to a closer, deeper level of relations with Russia. How can we not welcome that? Of course we welcome it. All that concerns internal politics, his wording, moves he uses to boost his popularity, I repeat, it is not our business to judge this work of his.
New findings in cancer research suggest that the disease is caused mainly by environmental factors like pollution and radiation, and not random DNA mutations. The new findings suggest 70 to 90% of cancer is caused by external factors. I24 News' Maya Margit has the story.
Think getting cancer is mostly the result of bad luck? Think again. New research suggests the disease is overwhelmingly caused by environmental factors like sunshine or smoking, and not random DNA mutations. Earlier this year, a study published in the US-based science journal sparked controversy after scientists argued cancer was unavoidable and caused by errors in gene coding. But these latest findings suggest otherwise, with scientists now saying there is strong evidence that random factors were only to blame in 10 to 30% of cases. In fact, 70 to 90% of cancer cases were caused by extrinsic factors, such as ultraviolet radiation and pollution. Experts have called the research, quote, pretty convincing. But they have also warned that the findings were not definitive and that further research remains to be done. Still, the study shows maintaining healthy habits appears to dramatically reduce the risk of developing the disease.
And we end with sports. Chelsea sacked manager Jose Mourinho this afternoon after a terrible season, ranking only 16th in the Premier League, losing 9 of their 16 matches. This is the second time Mourinho has been sacked from Chelsea. The first time was in 2007. And that's all the time we have. Join us again in just 20 minutes for more updates from the I24 News Desk. Thank you for watching.